Hey, Magic Makers, I have another great bonus episode here for you. And today I'm talking about consistency. And I'm talking about consistency because so many people think that health, fitness, anything, this applies to anything in your life. If I am not doing it consistently, I'm not going to see the results. And as I was thinking about this for this episode, and I always think about this a lot for my clients, where I see them bumping up against the wall, and I'm like, and then when they bump against the wall, why do they stop? And because they're about to get into the suck, right? No one wants to be in the suck. The suck sucks. And I was journaling about this morning, and it was like, it comes up for me too, and so many people will talk about like their mindset. And so it's like, and we think that mindset is just like fitness is a place that we arrive. Well, there's a saying, new level, new devil. And, just as you kind of slay whatever demons, dragons, whatever you want to call it, another one's going to pop up, especially as we aspire to do more. And, many of you listening here, you have aspirations. You're not the person who's content. If you're the person who's content, I'm not for you, right? Because I'm always going to say, what else? I say what else for myself. I say what else for someone else. And I'm going to say what else for you, especially if you're a client, right? I was on a call last night, and it was a program that I was ending, and it was our last call. It was our last group call. And I said, look, after this call, like, you don't lose me. I'm a freaking tick, right? I'm like Lyme disease. Like, you can't shake me. Once you kind of come into my orbit, you never leave my orbit. There are clients that I have worked with 15 years ago when I first started in the business that I am still friendly with. They still know that they can ring my doorbell and I'll be like, hey girl, hey, what's going on? How can I help you? That's how I am as a person. It's like, there's no end date. Well, there is an end date, but there is no end date for you being in my mind, for you being in my heart, right? Once you have become a client, you take up space. And so I always think about, like, what is it that keeps people from being consistent? And, I struggle with consistency. There's some things that I'm like, kicking myself in the butt. Like, why, Kim, for the love of God, why aren't you doing this? So here are the three, I'm going to say the three top reasons why I see people aren't being consistent. So this might be a kick in the shin or a wake-up call. I'm hoping that it's a wake-up call. And I would love for you to, circle back with me and tell me, on these three things, where do you find yourself not being consistent? So you're doing things that are too hard. We tell ourselves that, no pain, no gain, no struggle. All right. And if it's hard, then it must be the right path. And in order for you to do life, you must be perfect. That in order, the reason why we say it has to be hard, right? We think about all the things in our life, right? That it must be perfect. It has to look a certain way. And for years, the programming has been no pain, no gain. And we must go, most go big or go home. But I always ask, and I remember, when I was in the gym, I would say, okay, how many days a week do you have to work out? And they'd be like, every day. I can work out every day. And I'm like, okay, so you don't have kids. You don't have a job. You don't have a love life or a social life, you don't travel, they're like, and then they're like, well, and then like it pretty much boiled down to 3 to 4 days a week, right? Max 5. And that's okay, right? So if we kind of start to say, this is where I am, my favorite quote is from Arthur Ashe: do what I can with what I have. And so it's like, let's just be honest about where we are. Let's be realistic. And, I was having this conversation with a gym owner, and he's like, well, everyone should be coming into my gym 3 days a week. And I was like, agreed. However, many people are coming back from the pandemic, and many people when, we were told to go home and sit down, that's what they did. And they have not got back up. Or they went for walks, and that's great, but they haven't done active exercising for almost 2 years. So we can't expect them to just like hop back in at 3 days a week, where it's like, meet yourself where you are. be realistic. It's part of my reps. Be realistic. Be excited about what it is that you're picking, that you're choosing to do, which leads into number two. You are doing things that you, I'm going to air quote here, should do versus what you enjoy doing, right? So if I tell you, you got to come to the gym 3 days a week and you're just getting off the damn couch, how long is that going to last before you're like, this is just too out of my reach? And it's never, it's always about you. Like you make it that like, I suck. So instead of saying, you know what, I'm going to scale it back to 2 days a week, 1 day a week, you like, see, it's a sign I shouldn't work, right? So this is why we got to start again looking at like our life. Like every week I sit down and I say, what does my week look like? And last week, my goal typically is I work out anywhere from 3 to 5 days a week. That's my goal. My bare minimum is 3. Last week I hurt my knee. So I hurt my knee on Wednesday night. Thursday, I was like, I shouldn't be working out today. And I didn't. I didn't work out. Friday, I was like, you know what? This is a sign. Like my body's like, hey girl, knock me on the door, sit your ass down. And I sat my ass down. I didn't work out again until Monday. So I literally took off 1, 2, 3. I took 4 days off. Old Kim would have been like, well, you need to fight through the pain. Like, what do you think? Who do you think you are? You could take 4 days off in a row. And I would have like literally gone down like this shame spiral. But instead I was like, you know what? My knee hurts. And that is telling me that something doesn't feel right. So I'm not going to do it. So I really want you to start thinking about leaning into how your body feels, right? Because I used to just like tell my body to shut up. And I interviewed someone a few years ago about overtraining. And she was like, an elite athlete. She went to the CrossFit games. She was always at the gym. And she's like, when I finally, sat down and figured out what was going on with me, her coach said to her, if you can't hear your body whisper, how are you going to hear it scream? And so I'm sure many of you, your bodies are screaming at you. It could be something as simple as me, my knee. My knee was like, hey girl, hey. And so there might be something else. Maybe you're not sleeping. Maybe you've lost your appetite. Maybe your cravings are through the damn roof and you just don't know what to do about it. I want you to think about, are you listening to your body? Are you doing things you think you should do versus doing things that are going to really move the dial? I see it all the time, right? You go to a party, you go to an event, see on the socials, Sharon lost 20 pounds doing keto. And so, you load up on, fat and protein. And by Wednesday, you're like, I can't stomach another fat bomb, right? A friend's doing a boot camp and they promised you're going to lose 30 pounds in 6 weeks, and yet you hate, and it's 4 days a week in the morning. When I first started in the fitness industry, I used to teach at a boot camp, and it was 6 weeks and it was 5 days a week. That was the commitment. So 6 days, 5 days a week, Monday through Friday. So the first 2 weeks everyone's there, like maybe 1 or 2 people miss a couple of days that they overslept. By like the 4th week, it was like half of the class was coming. And it was just a lot of a commitment for a lot of people. And, they promised you 20 to 30 pounds, loss. And that sucked people in, but they didn't check in with, can I do this? Is this possible for me? All right. So, I'm a morning exerciser, and some people, I teach it in the evening. And so many people, like, they're coming at like 7 o'clock at night. And I'm like, 2 snaps up and a tic tac for you, because I was like, at 7 o'clock at night, no bra, PJs, feet up, not even thinking about any type of workout. And the last thing, I'd like to try to keep these episodes 15 minutes or less, is that you don't have a clear way to measure your progress, right? So many people keep it very vague, so you're not saying to yourself, this is what I want to achieve. So I'm always, I'm sure it makes many of my clients crazy when I was like, well, how will you know when you get there? Right? Because it's like getting in your car and punching in to your GPS. Do you just punch in Mass Ave? Do you punch in Main Street? Or do you physically punch in that I'm going to 13 Mass Ave? Do I punch in that I'm going to 500 Mass Ave? Like, what do I punch in? Because if I just punch in, I just want to work out. Great, fabulous. But what are you trying to accomplish? Are you trying, is it for health? Because if you tell me that it's for health, I'm going to give you a different prescription than for someone who is um, trying to get on a fitness stage, or for someone who's trying to lose 20 pounds, right? There's very different things. So we need to be able to say what it is that we're trying to get to, so that, you know, one little slip up, you know, doesn't make us feel like, oh, I fail, I suck, and I'm off to another program, right? So it's like, it's saying, how am I going to measure success so that I know that I'm getting there, right? So it's like, I talked about my workouts, bare minimum 3 days. That is my bare minimum, 3 days, 5 days max. And so if I hit those 3 to 5 days, I'm like, I know that I'm on my path, right? I'm on my path. And I know that, just like I said, you know, if I hurt my knee, me taking 4 days off is probably what I need. Probably my body's way of saying, hey girl, we've done a lot of work. And we have, like, I've consistently kept up that routine all the way through COVID, you know, and that was a struggle. You know, I went from being at a gym to learning to like to work out, learning to like to work out from home, which, shocker, like ex gym rat here, love my morning workouts by myself. It's a good, like, mind, like a mind reset for me. So here's where I'm gonna land the plane, right? Consistency. So John Maxwell defines consistency as small disciplines repeated with consistency every day leads to great achievement, right? So it is what you can do every single day, and it's not these, like, you know, I'm not saying you're pushing a boulder up Mount Everest. It is small things, right? It's the daily commitment. Like, can you commit to a 15-minute commitment of something, right? Can you commit to a bedtime? You know, can you commit to reading 5 pages? You know, what is it that we can start to commit to that I can start to see myself doing over and over and over again, right? Because it's like, it requires us to be clear about our goals, and so that every goal doesn't have to be a struggle. It is just me knowing that I am chipping away every single day towards what my goal, so that I can think about, what can I add to my life versus always feeling like I have to subtract, right? When people start to say, I want to lose weight, it's always like, I have to give up. And the list is like, I have to give up soy, gluten, sugar, carbs, fun, life. I'm going to live off of ice and rice cakes, right? Instead of saying, well, if I were to look at my life, I don't really have a lot of vegetables, right? Most people only eat vegetables 1 time a day for the most part. So it's like, okay, that's one of the reasons why I have a big ass salad every single day. I can put a shit ton of vegetables in that salad. I can do that salad no matter where I am on the planet Earth. I've been to, like, the New Hampshire of Russia and was able to get a salad, right? So I want you to be able to start to think to yourself, like, how can I make this simpler, right? Because if I make this simpler, it's more sustainable. And when it's sustainable, that's when I'm going to really start to see the changes, and really going to start to see the dial move, right? My goal is to help you break up with this, like, no pain, no gain, and really start to say, easy is earned, right? I have to earn my easy. I can't expect to sprint my way to the easy. All right. So I'd love to hear, what keeps you from being consistent? And maybe you will be an episode, not you personally, but maybe your struggle will be an episode here on one of these Fit Girl Magic bonus episodes. All right, ladies, enjoy the rest of your day. And as always, stay fabulous.